Definitely got to turn that down.
Welcome to the 21st annual, welcome to the Albemarle Broadband Authority meeting, first one of the year. Thank you all very much for being here present in the room, and thanks to our two intrepid members who are present on the meeting. I think our first order of business, let me establish that we have a quorum here in the room, and we need to decide if we want to permit these two folks to participate in the meeting. I suggest that we do, and we'd like to move same. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Both of you have been promoted to being in the meeting. I understand that you're participating virtually due to personal matters, which you are required to give us some specificity about, but not so much that would be embarrassing. Things like, I couldn't get there, sound very appropriate to me. So if you could sound off and give us your reasons, I think we'll have fulfilled the requirements.
I'm calling from my home in the Scottsville district. I am unavailable because I could not get my car out of the driveway. Or rather, my husband's car out of the driveway. I certainly can't get my car out either. No one's car can get out of the driveway.
I think you covered it, Mike.
I'm calling from my home in the Samuel Miller district, and I can get out of my driveway, but the 1,000 feet between my driveway and the road that is dry as a bone is covered in a sheet of ice. So unable to get out.
So partial success, hoping for improvement in the future.
Yeah, tomorrow should be a better day, I think.
I hope so. It's going to be cold tomorrow, though. Well, thank you both. Let me ensure that you can hear what we are saying.
Loud and clear.
Mike, you good?
That was a thumbs up from him.
Okay. We don't actually have video on you in the room, so audible responses will help us.
Sorry about that. Yes, I can hear y'all just fine.
All right, so we're good to go. We've got a quorum. We've got all the members present. Let me take this moment to welcome our new member, Supervisor Fred Missel. Welcome to the Broadband Authority.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
In case you didn't know, this is the voice of Bucky Walsh. Maybe you can have everyone go around the room so you'll know who the voices are.
Trevor Henry, Deputy County Executive.
Waldo Jaquith, just some guy.
Yeah.
And Bill Fritz.
Okay.
Bill Fritz? Who's Bill? I don't know Bill Fritz. Is that
Let's try to keep it that way.
yeah.
The man with no name. Okay. Everyone should have a copy of the agenda, either provided to them electronically or in paper.
There are
form.
copies there if anybody
There's
needs
some paper, copies here in the room if you want. I will ask that we approve the agenda, assuming everyone has a copy.
The agenda lists the June and September minutes for approval. They were previously approved. It should be the October minutes for approval.
Very good. We'll update accordingly.
And Mr. Chair, I did want to mention Chandler Vaughn is on to update us on some DHCD activities. He would appreciate if his segment, which comes under new business, could be moved up so that way he can make it to a personal event.
Anyone object if we just do that next? Okay. Well, let's amend the agenda accordingly, and hearing no objections to doing so, let's move on to the next thing, which would be Chandler Vaughn updating us on some things with DHCD.
All right, Chandler, give me 1 second. I'm going to promote you to panelist.
Okay, I believe we're on. Jason.
Yep, you're good.
Great. Thank you all for the flexibility. I appreciate you moving me up in the agenda. Glad to bring updates on what the future of VADI is, and also touch base on other things we have going on in the office. Most importantly, the BEAD program. First things first, we really appreciated as the office being invited to your, recognition event last month and, celebrating the work that's gone on in the county to date. You guys are widely known in the state, across the nation as a leader in broadband access expansion and also thinking about the digital divide more broadly. So thank you for your continued work on that. That was well-deserved recognition last month, and we appreciated the ability to celebrate with you all. Looking ahead, we've still got work ahead of us, across the state, as well as in Albemarle County in some places through what's called the BEAD program. I'm sure Jason has you all up to speed. The BEAD program is the latest round of federal funding to expand broadband access to unserved locations across the state. These are homes and businesses and community anchor institutions that have not been picked up in previous VODI projects across the state. The result in Albemarle County was predominantly with Comcast. I don't have a map to share up on the screen now. We're working on developing a public-facing map now that's more user-friendly. But there's some subdivisions and neighborhoods up and down, 29 North, the north of Charlottesville, on each side of 29, where there were some locations that had long driveways that were not able to access Comcast service with no additional fee. Comcast applied for those locations under the BEAD program. So you can expect a lot of infill from Comcast over the next couple of years in Albemarle County. The same thing goes for some locations along the Fluvanna County border in the southeastern portion of the county. I think you all are tuned in to the broadband expansion work. I think one interesting thing of note that you all should be aware of is Comcast submitted a proposal to serve these locations for free. They did not request funding to reach these locations. Naturally, we selected their proposal to reach these homes and businesses. They did not request any funding to reach in Albemarle County. That tells me it's a lot of infill on their existing networks. That also tells me that perhaps Comcast has some capital plans to invest in broadband expansion across the county. Again, you guys are already ahead of the game with partnerships with Firefly, for example, but I would expect to see some Comcast construction, not only to the BEAD location, but also some infill here and there over the next few years. We are finalizing an exact build-out timeline with Comcast over the next couple of months as we get into signing contracts with these BEAD companies. And we'll certainly keep everybody posted there, including the residents. What you all will see rolled out in the next couple of months as well is a resident, constituent-facing tool that will provide more information than we ever have on broadband build-outs. Residents will be able to go in, click on their location, determine what internet service provider is going to provide their service, and see the specific stage of construction that their address is at. So whether that's engineering and design, whether that's in the initial permitting phase, whether it's in construction, splicing, or service is activated and they can subscribe, and then they're directed over to the Comcast website. So you'll see those things launched in the next couple of months. The next thing we're anxiously awaiting in the broadband office, and should be on the radar, and I know it's on Jason's radar at the county level as well. We are expecting pretty sizable guidance from the federal government when it comes to how states across the country can invest our remaining BEAD dollars. Virginia was allocated almost $1.5 billion in funding under the BEAD program. We ran a pretty cost-efficient process, which resulted in about $545 million of that in awards. That's back of the napkin math here. We've got over $800 million remaining in unallocated funding under the BEAD program. The Trump administration published an executive order back in December that said we would have guidance on how we can use non-deployment funding in early March. So everybody should circle March 11th on their calendars. We certainly do at the broadband office. March 11th is the deadline for the agency at the federal level to publish how states can invest those surplus BEAD dollars that we have left over. So March 11th is a date we're all looking forward to. I don't have any tea leaves about what we can use those funds for. There's a lot of statutory uses that was outlined in the Infrastructure Investments and Jobs Act. We'll see which ones of those trickle through in the final guidance from the Trump administration, and certainly keep all of our partners updated on that front, with what the eligible uses are. Last thing is forward-looking as well. and this is what's on the screen here, the future of VADI. There are a couple of legislative proposals we've seen bounce around this General Assembly session. I won't touch on those because the governor has not indicated her position on those amendments yet, so I won't speak to the amendments that's ongoing in the state budget to the VADI program. Just for informational purposes, a lot of the attempted amendments this cycle try to open up the VADI program to be able to fund things like infrastructure relocations. When the state highways expand, the fiber companies usually get the bill, and now the VADI program is trying to be expanded to fund the relocation expense that the broadband provider would previously have to pay for. There's also some attempts to expand the VADI program to invest in escalating project costs like pole attachments. So governor hasn't taken a position on those. So we don't have a position on those at the broadband office, but we'll certainly relay as we go along. The current vision for the VADI program, however, and this is where the county involvement comes back in, it's no secret that there will be new homes built. There will be homes that slip through the cracks, even in the best broadband availability mapping process. We're not talking hundreds in each county across the state. We're talking points on the map here and there, new homes being built, homes that have slipped through the cracks of broadband mapping efforts in the past that will need, some sort of funding to deploy broadband access to their locations. In the past, we've been able to do that through what's called the LECAP program, Line Extension Customer Assistance Program. We are planning to remake VADI, in the image of that line extension program with some work to streamline it. So LECAP had a funding cap for eligibility, or had an income cap for eligibility. The VADI program, in the next iteration of it, would, be able to deploy broadband access to a location no matter the household income. We would also be able to do it in batches, not one home at a time. A county, Albemarle, for example, could bring us a list of 25 or 50 or 75, however many homes, submit that application to us, that then we would then consider on a rolling basis, consider it against other applications, and then proceed forward with funding as long as it scored high enough and was competitive. So we're penciling through that guidance now and thinking through all of the different components of how to structure that application process on a rolling basis with, comparing applicants from county to county and, selecting the ones that are scoring highly enough to move forward. But more guidance there is coming. Just, I think from a county perspective, what needs to be, put into place now, I would recommend that if you all are hearing from any constituents in the field that, may have been missed by a VADI or a BEAD program and aren't just waiting on construction to reach them, they've been really missed by the program. Construction's not planned to be on its way. Be keeping track of those addresses because that's something that you would submit in a VADI application in this next iteration of VADI. So that concludes the remarks there. Glad to take questions and discussion as appropriate.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Vaughn?
Oh, thanks for the update.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much for the update. I was really excited about the consumer lookup tool. That sounds like it'll help solve a lot of frustration for folks.
It will. Our position here is that if somebody has to wait until the end of the line, meaning wait until the end of the BEAD program, they ought to be the best informed about the build out. So that's how we thought about that, and looking forward to rolling that tool out in a couple of months.
Well, thank you very much for the briefing. We'll look forward to seeing what happens on 3/11, and look forward to seeing how the rest of this unwinds and the new VADI program gets launched.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So back to our regularly scheduled program. Brief announcements by authority members. Anyone have any announcements? Gentlemen on the call?
None here. Thank you.
No announcements.
Okay. Then here's an opportunity for public comment. Have any folks on the call
We do. We've got a few people on the call. If anybody is interested in participating in public comment, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom. I see no raised hand.
Okay. Then we'll march forward. Next item is the consent agenda, which have there been any updates?
There have, and I did want to take a minute to point it out. So if you take a look at the the financial report, we did two things. One is we updated the most recent numbers for Body 22. So we've made lots of progress in paying Firefly for their hard work through TJPDC. The other thing that we did is that with Body 21 closed out, we've reintroduced the ABBA fund, which I'm not going to remember the budget code, but the remaining Body 21 dollars, the about $87,000, have been shifted back into the ABBA fund. So that is available for the authorities' use.
As pertains to our mission, not for parties and such.
Yes.
Just clarifying for anyone on the call. Okay. Any objections to the consent agenda? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we'll mark that down as approved. Next item is the approval of the October meeting minutes. Bill, did you get any substantive feedback on those?
No, I did not.
Would you like to move their approval?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Those are approved. Thank you very much, sir. Old business. Can this be the last time we have to talk about Body 2021?
It really is old business. It really is.
I would love to make that promise. Unfortunately, as we'll discuss, there are two more things. So final financial review was completed in December. We passed. We received our letter. I believe Chair Walsh, you received a copy. That'll obviously go into the records. Next, we have 6-month and 10-month post-closeout reports, which are due in March and September, respectively. These are the take rate counts. So not a heavy lift. We will keep in touch with Brightspeed's management and leadership to make sure that they get us the data that we need in time, and we will report those. At the end of that 10-month, we will receive our final closure of this project. I do not plan on providing anybody any updates, anybody in this body, any updates here during the meetings, unless there's any news to share.
That sounds very reasonable. I feel like you've been fully updated on this project.
And I do want to emphasize that this project, though at times challenging, we did make 1,435 connections, and our understanding is that the take rate has been strong. And so that's great for those residents that were able to get connected.
Do you know, when you say strong, do you know what the take rate?
If you
Just a
had
range.
asked, I would have remembered. It is certainly north of 50.
Okay. Thank you.
Moving next down the agenda, Body 2022, I had to take note of the august personage of Mr. Gary Wood entering the room.
Yes, so I'm going to move quickly through these slides, provide a couple of caveats, and I'm happy to answer any questions. However, I do want to offer for the authorities inquisition. Gary Wood has agreed to provide us an update. So I'm going to leave the details to him, but I did want to just run through these slides really quickly. We are and have been for some time on the increasingly long tail of this project. This is the time when the heat starts to turn up on people's interest and desire. Our office is fielding phone calls and emails. We're sending them all to the Firefly team to get updates and to provide updates as best we can. This isn't unexpected, and this isn't new. These are large construction projects, and as I emphasize whenever I respond, this isn't a project in one part of Albemarle County. This is 15 ongoing projects in Albemarle County, as well as in 14 other counties in Virginia that are going to ultimately serve over 70,000 households. So it's a big project. There is a very strong focus on Albemarle County in order to meet the deadlines that we see set, which for all of the remaining project areas is first connections in the winter, so before March 19th. So March is going to be a really exciting time for us. That's the lay of the land in terms of that. I did want to, we've been tracking this, this chart for a while now. And so you guys have seen variations on this. And it looks very static. And I wanted to just caveat that when we look at this information, we're looking at based on what we have been billed for. And they're billing us effectively 2 whole quarters behind. So the progress as of December 2025 is from when they sent us a bill in January that represented their data that they had processed in December, which are invoices that they received as of August. So when we look at this, this is where they were about 5 months ago. There's been a lot more progress since then. Gary can share a little bit more about that. But as we've been tracking this, I did just want to note that we've been providing you guys this data as it's been shared with us by TJPDC, but this is stale data. And so if it is in the desire of the authority, we'll stop sharing this particular chart just because I don't know that it's providing a whole lot of value. In the long run, it can provide us a good track as of how this project went. But for right now, I think that it is not serving us well.
I guess some information is better than none.
Okay.
Even if it's stale.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to now start labeling it not from when I receive it, but from what it represents.
That's
previously.
far better.
Yes. And then this is the Dominion one. And the big reason that I wanted to bring this one up, this is also, as you can tell, a little stale. But the big reason I wanted to bring this up is that Dominion has completed its construction phase. The primary activity right now is splicing. And they're, in my conversations with Dennis over the last few weeks, Dominion has had some additional work that they've had to do to correct some things or to modify some things to make sure that it hits exactly what was needed. But as of September, they were already at 60% of splicing complete. So my understanding is if they're not done, they're close. And that shifts everything over to the Firefly team, which again, they've been out in the field. They've got a renewed focus on Albemarle County. And so with that, Chair, if I may, I'd like to introduce Gary Wood to share some updates and some remarks.
I'll be delighted.
Gary, you can do it from there, or you can come up.
Well, wherever you'd like to.
Come on, join us at the table.
Throw your questions to me at. I didn't bring a lot of visual aids to show you, but I can talk some about where we are. We're a little behind where we'd like to be in Albemarle County, obviously. I mean, the original project's deadline was last August. We knew that was aggressive, and we still are working very hard. We've made a lot of progress that you haven't always seen because we have a lot of fiber in the ground, in the air. It's not spliced and connected. That's very frustrating as the CEO who writes the checks for the interest payments we make every month on that fiber. So we're pushing people along to get them, to get the last stages completed. Let me tell you the way I think about the project, and then we can go into any specific areas. We think about it in terms of our utility partners because there's different construction methods in each one of those. We'll start with Rappahannock to the north. They have the smallest footprint of the utility partners in Albemarle, but they have actually run the smoothest because they're another electric co-op. Our design looks just like it did on Central Virginia. It's very predictable. We did complete kind of the northwestern piece of the Albemarle early on, the Credit Creek area. All of the fiber is in the air. We have a hut in place. We have had some challenges getting Route 29 crossings in a couple of places that are required to bring the light into that hut. So we have completed those. I understand, and we have a little bit of final work right around the hut. We should have light to that hut soon. As soon as we do that, we're ready to splice, and then we'll be ready to do connections. It's a pretty good little footprint. You can see a lot of the different circuits there, go here and there. So we'll be splicing in there. We'll get connections started by March. It'll probably run to mid-year. Now APCO to the south. We did very well with APCO in terms of coordination, except early in the project, we told them we'd like to get 8 to 10 make-ready crews to work at the pace we wanted. They said that was crazy, that they'd never had a project that big, but they used 3 or 4 and see how it went. Because they're already away. They worked most of the time with 4 or 5 crews. We were still ahead of the game. APCO is running further behind a lot of counties. But they did complete their work, and we have completed all of our construction in Keene. All of the fibers in place, except for one small piece of underground that ties into an adjacent service area and is a final light. We have the HUD in place. The electronics are in. The fiber is into the HUD. We've got that one little piece of underground. This week will be hard to put that in. It otherwise would have gone in, but there are a couple of reasons why you can't do that in the snow, not the least of which is they can't do 811 markings. They won't spray on the snow, and because it doesn't last. So they have to wait for the snow to go away to get that piece. But with that, we're really within a week of when we get the snow out to get that underground in. We'll get light into the hut, and then we'll start splicing the main lines out of Keene, and within a month after it, we'll be putting in final connections. It's a large service area that'll also run through the summer. The Dominion area is the most complex because of the handoff we have when they build the middle mile. We have to build into it and out of it. We have to coordinate with them. And both Dominion and Firefly have found some challenges, particularly in Albemarle, with getting private easements. So it's not unusual for us to have an original design that we agreed to with Dominion, have them start construction, and they're not able to complete their construction as designed because they can't get all of the easements to either place the fiber or to give us access to poles. When they give us an access point on a pole, we go underground, we have to get our easement to get from that pole back over to the state highway. And sometimes that's been a challenge. So
Gary, on that challenge, that's as compared to the rest of the region that you've been working in?
We have more in Albemarle, more challenges than others.
Can you attribute that other than being special, or like,
Special is a nice way to put it.
Yeah, well, there are folks for different reasons, and we've worked through a lot. We may still end up with a handful of folks we just can't reach, and we've talked to Jason some about that, but usually it starts with a concern about something. Sometimes it's well, it was Dominion pole. I don't like Dominion. I don't want to do anything that gets them any money, and you're going to lease it from, so I don't want to. We start talking about why it helps the neighbors, and usually we can get through things. Sometimes it's that they looked at our easement, and it says we can remove shrubs. They go, I don't want you coming into my yard and removing shrubs, and we explain that's only if you plant an azalea over top of our fiber, and 10 years from that it fails. We've got to get to the fiber, and so we ask them not to plant, but if you do plant, we may have to move. Sometimes we get past that. Most of the time we can show them where we're going to build. Some folks just see it as an opportunity for some revenue. They assume we're going to make money off this. Across their property, they'd like to get a piece of the pie. I usually talk about how small the pie is. $50 a month for a service, there's not a lot of extra to so we work through it, but it's a number of things. There are more people paying attention in Albemarle and I can't quite put my finger on why, but certainly they're more aware and interested with everything that goes on the property as opposed to just an excitement that broadband's coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. We've gone back and forth with Dominion. This is the largest footprint for the Dominion Middle Mile in a county in our service area, and I think one of the largest in the state. They had a lot to build, so they have worked through many of those issues. But when they work through them and they move some of their design around, we have to go back and redesign. And so that adds complication and slows the process.
Iterations.
Right. Yeah. We have a very a unique design in our system. If you're familiar with cable television, they have what's called a distributed split, which means they come to a cabinet, the signal split 30 ways all equally, and they take off and go to different homes. Because we're in a rural area with much lower density, to make it more cost effective, we have a distributed tap, which means every time we come down, we calculate just how much light we need to pull off at that point. And then we go to the next point and calculate that. And so our taps have different dB levels of light coming off, and it's to optimize the fiber so we can use the same fiber several times and not have to run larger fiber and do more splicing and run longer drops. That adds a complication that if you move the place where we get the tap, the light level is different. So we have to redesign everything. So more than you care to know, but that's added the complication. We have made good progress. Dominion is, if they have not finished splicing, I was trying to think today, there's might be one or two areas they're doing a little bit more splicing. They are still passing back the final matrix of connections in a couple of areas. And that's from the last time they gave us information, we give it back to them. They hand back an assignment of the fibers that they'll be handing off. And from there, we're ready to go splice. We have fiber in the ground in a number of areas out in Rockfish Gap. We've had it since mid-year. I have a brother who lives out there who signed up for service. I call him every week. and they send me pictures and said, hey, the fiber's going in the ground. When are we getting this? It'll be soon, just hang on. So we should be splicing in that area. We've just released that for splicing. We have released, let's see, I got a couple of these areas on here. Louisa Road, which is on the east side, that is actually, that's in design. I take it back. That's not ready for splicing. Rockfish Gap, we've got splicing. Gordonsville Road, further to the north, we actually have completed our splicing. That was a small area. We're starting to do service drops there. Batesville area, we're waiting for one final place. There's actually two pedestals we have to set to interface to Dominion. We've got all the fiber in. We should be ready to then start splicing there. I mentioned Keene already that we're in. And the very western part that's adjacent to Route 250 going up to Afton, so from Crozet pretty much west, there's kind of two areas, and all of that we're either in final splicing or we'll be starting splicing. We've released a couple in the last couple of weeks. All the fiber's already in. We are putting fiber in Carter's Mountain area. That's a really large area south of town. And that will probably take us 6 weeks to be at a point we can start splicing. And we will be in there. We have released Sugar Hollow, another large area. They're placing fiber up there.
What does release mean?
Really, that's when we have given the contractor the final drawings for them to put the fiber in the ground. So that's releasing for construction, then we release for splicing after we've got the final splice back.
Okay, so Sugar Hollow has been released
For
for
construction.
construction, okay.
And they're building the fiber now. Midway, we have a good bit of fiber in. What we call Midway is not what some people in the county may think of as Midway, because it's fed from our Midway, Central Virginia Electric Midway substation, but it's actually much further north, up and around Crozet, actually on both sides. It's a pretty good sized area. But if you get west of Crozet and we say, this is Midway, no, you're wrong. For us, it's Midway. And on the map, you don't have to know this. If you put in your address on the map, it tells you where you are. So we're making progress in a lot of areas. We have fiber already in. The last places we will be Stony Point and Earlysville because of the changes we had to make. When we started into those areas with our Dominion Middle Mile design, looking at what we need to do and looking at what we wanted to make sure we could be able to serve long-term, we were right at the very edge of our long-distance optics. So we made the decision that we would be better now to put a cabinet in place, be more local, be able to serve folks a lot better and give us a lot more options, and a healthier network down the road. As speeds increase, sometimes distances contract, and we didn't want to be in a position where we'd say, well, you folks can't get the newest speeds because you were right at the edge of what we could do. So that's been the trade-off up there. We have permits into the county for Stony Point. That site has been designed, and as soon as the county gives us that permit, we'll put some DAS in there and start clearing it and building it. Earlysville, we're going to run in parallel and build that as well. The folks in both those areas at the fire departments have been great to work with. We've located some the huts. And we will also start construction in Stony Point in particular. We've finished all of our ride outs and final reviews of construction. They'll start fiber construction there very soon. Earlysville won't be too far behind. But and that includes for Earlysville, that's the Windrift area as well as the Free Union, Earlysville, Waverly area. They'll both be served out of the Earlysville hut. And Stony Point has the Stony Point Eastham area.
And Earlysville includes Advanced Mills?
Yes. Yes, Advanced Mills, the north side of Advanced Mills is Rappahannock.
Okay.
But the Dominion piece that they kind of come together up there,
okay.
Dominion piece will come out of Earlysville.
Okay.
Yeah. So we anticipate that we're going to be able to get there still by March, but that's going to be really, really tight in the Stony Point and Earlysville areas. If anything slides, it'll be those areas and that we just may not get to by mid-March with the first connections. If we don't, we'll be there in April and or with weather like this, maybe early May. If we get another, we'll lose 2 weeks to this, and the whole thing shifts. But we are making good progress. We have a lot of folks up here, contractors, a lot of places where we're interrupting traffic because we're putting in fiber down the sides of roads. We appreciate the patience of all the Albemarle citizens who've been very patient, and we're going to deliver still a great product and a great service, and we're going to be here for a long time. We do have about just under 3,500 active accounts in Albemarle today.
Our take separate from the CVEC account?
That includes CVEC. I just asked for a total number, and that's the number I got while I was driving up here. So I didn't check to see, but I'm pretty sure that includes CVEC. Ultimately, we're going to be in front of about 11,200 roughly accounts. I think probably a little around half of that we probably have service available to today. We still have a backlog of some places to connect. Generally on our system, we've seen initial take rates of about 60%, and in areas where we have had service available a while, like the Central Virginia Midway area, we're at 75 or 80%. Midway is actually one of our highest take rates in the whole network. They may be over 80%. We're working to get everybody on as fast as we can. The newest areas will have the benefit. We haven't announced yet when we'll start providing 2.5 gig service, but all of the new huts are designed so that we have that available. Maybe later this year. Don't tell anybody I'm not online or anything. So
that's okay. Those of us who are coming from 25 megabit, it's very, very hard to think about 2.5
we don't have a lot of people storming the doors asking why aren't you going faster than 1 gigabit?
But 5 years from now, who knows?
That's right. That's right. So we do appreciate all the support the county gives us, county staff. It's been great to work with, first with Mike and with Jason. We hope to get people online as fast as we can. The other thing is our subscribers continue to value the service. Another thing I'm not supposed to announce until the public announcement comes out, but they said it would be at the end of this month, so it should be this next couple of days. They're going to announce the 5 highest American Consumer Satisfaction Index scores nationally for ISPs, and there'll be one familiar name in that.
Congratulations to Comcast. That's great. Did not see it coming.
That's it. There will be an Albemarle County provider in it. So,
no, please. No.
So there you go. And with that, I've rounded around and kind of touched on a lot of different areas, but I'll be glad to answer any specific questions you have. There are areas we're already in, like Ragged Mountain. We've had fiber up and spliced for a while, but we've been waiting on 2 railroad crossings that have large segments, some pretty good sized subdivisions. One just outside of town, that little park and ride area on 29, just south of 64. Just the other side of the railroad tracks, a little subdivision back there with about 60 or 80 homes. And we've had that fiber in and been waiting to cross that track. We've had a permit for 6 months, but they haven't been able to schedule it because they don't have enough flags for the train. So we do have that scheduled. Flag cross. Those are the types of things that throw off the schedule sometimes, and it's hard to provide all the detail to everybody about exactly where things are. So they'll look and say, well, you say connected now in their service area, but nobody in my neighborhood has it. And that's true. There's usually that one segment of road crossing, an easement we're waiting. So, all right, any questions?
Speaking of someone who lives in the Windrift area,
Yes.
I keenly appreciate that y'all are doing as good a job as you possibly can.
Well, I appreciate it. The chairman of our Central Virginia Electric Board was the last board member to be connected when we built the CVEC system. And that took us 4 years, and he was connected at actually just after 4 years. He was in the backlog when we were wrapping up. That wasn't intentional, that just happened.
Good leadership.
Yeah, leadership lives, right?
That's right.
So, and we'll be glad to keep you up to date and let you know as we get these areas. Every week, right now, across the system, we're getting about 500 to 600 more homes with service available. We're connecting about 200 to 250 with service drops and extensions into that. So we still have a good bit of work to do, but we're working at a pretty good clip.
I'll say, I don't, obviously, nobody loves delays. That's a given. So it's frustrating to see the one or so season delay. I do appreciate not just an explanation, but we just heard a very detailed, largely from memory explanation of exactly the problems in each place. And that's the level of detail that, just speaking for myself, makes me feel better about there's a delay, and it's not just because, oh, well, because it's delayed, or because I think we heard several times with past rounds of FADI, like, well, we didn't anticipate that it would snow in the winter. Okay, it's 2023 or whatever at this point. I think we figured out that it snows in the winter. But instead you're saying, well, it didn't just snow. We can't spray marks on the ground. Well, heck, I didn't realize that. That seems like a really important problem. And therefore we think we'll be about 2 weeks late. Well, okay, no, that makes sense. Can't love the delays. Do appreciate though an explanation in which I get it. I can propose a single thing you should be doing differently here. There's a reason why I don't run CVAC but it's helpful. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks. And we have a really good team with the contractors, the key construction partners, our utility partners, and the Firefly folks. And the one thing I can assure everyone is there are a whole lot of folks who care a lot about getting this finished. And we pay attention to it every day. And it's what we're doing. That's what Firefly, we're still establishing that business. We're a startup that is trying to get started. And we intend to finish out our major construction. We're not expanding into a lot of other areas. We're going to be here for a long time. It's not for sale. It will not be because of the way it's intertied to all the utilities. And we intend to serve just like Central Virginia and be in the rural areas. And while I appreciate that Body is looking at some things in case new homes are built and need service, we're going to connect new homes. We're not going to go to Body to ask for a service truck. We don't ask for it on the Central Virginia side. Once we're here, we're going to serve everybody that shows up, and we'll look for opportunities to expand beyond that, where it's economical, where it makes sense financially. But the footprint will always be at least where it is.
Well, it's exciting to see the amount of critical mass you're going to have in this space when this project's done. It's very different from just a CVEC only space. So you're a real regional contender.
Yeah. And
we couldn't be happier to have you as a partner.
Yes. Well, thanks again. We'll end up with about 9,000 miles of fiber. We've got 4,500 miles of electric line CVC. We'll be in front of about 130,000 homes. And CVC, we're in front of about 40,000. They're all connected. We have 100% take rate on electricity.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If you have any other questions, just let Jason know. And Dennis was planning to be here, but I'm back up to Dennis. He's feeling a little under the weather. So, but we work really well with the county. So
he's joined virtually. I see.
Okay, that's good. He'll correct me on whatever I said wrong. I probably have text already.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Gary.
The BAAO update?
3 updates. I'll be quick, not just because I have to go pick up my daughter in about 20 minutes, but little office update as part of some restructuring within the county. Our office is being combined effectively with previously the Office of Equity and Inclusion to form the Office of Public Services Accessibility. The primary role that this new office is going to take is taking over ADA compliance and ADA coordination. And that is the big task. We actually kicked off that task today. Jesse Brookins, formerly of OI, will still be in charge of that office. And our team is joining them in the accessibility realm. For the foreseeable future, our team is going to continue to operate as we have been. It's going to take a little while for us to figure out what the path forward is going to be, but what we've kind of laid out is there's going to be opportunities for our team, which is kind of knee deep already in digital accessibility, to help build that piece out for the county. I can also tell you one of the first tasks that the county is going to be dealing with is our web digital ADA compliance, which is going to be a heavy task with a tight timeline. So any questions and all that, you can still find me where you always find me. Our plan for websites, because it's nice to not have, and this is going to come after the ADA, digital ADA stuff happens, is that a lot of the data that's on our website is currently under the government side. We're just going to move it to the community side. And make it more just informational and community facing. So that way people, for instance, that want to access this new tool, so that way they can click and find out where they are. That'll just live in a public facing page under the community side. And then our other activities will fall within the PSA website.
Just in case it's useful, I spoke at the National Association of Counties conference this past summer, serving on a panel with my co-panelist, had built a really great free tool to be able to make PDFs accessible for websites.
Yep.
If I could be helpful there.
I will.
My organization helps with this.
I will have Jesse reach out to you.
I was just gonna say.
Okay.
You'll have some great resources there.
Yep.
So.
Anything else on that one?
What's the effective timeline for this?
It has already happened.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
Beat update. I did right before the meeting get an update from Comcast, and the update was they do not have any updates for us at this time. That did not come without a lot of efforts by them to just get in touch with their team and make sure that everybody's aware. And they wanted me to emphasize that Albemarle County is a really, really important piece of this this project for them, and so they are eager to get started as soon as they can. But one of the barriers is, and maybe you can help with this too, they need to get through NIST review before they can publicly discuss. That's the National Institute of Science and Technology. They need to get through NIST review before they can actually publicly disclose their plans. And so they are currently in that.
God help them, I have no.
No.
It's been a while since I've read Catch 22, but our update is that we don't have an update. Feels very Joseph Heller.
A little bit though, yeah. So that's the only beat update that I have. Chandler did a great job of covering where the whole program is overall, including the $800 million, which Chandler's still on the line. And just like to point out that 2 years ago, I told him we'd have $800 million left over, and he doubted me. So I'm just putting that in the ground. Digital inclusion planning. We're still working on our regional digital inclusion plan, and ahead of finalizing any of the implementation sections, we do plan to reach out to the governor's team to get any guidance on what their plans are. Obviously, new administration with an affordability focus, digital affordability is a huge part of this. We want to make sure that before we publish a plan, that it does align with expectations for what is going to happen over the next few years. So that is still pending, and that's all I got.
Questions for Jason? All right, new business. We don't have anything on the agenda. Anybody have any new business they wanted to bring up? As long as I'm talking about it, other matters that you wanted to discuss or vote on? Seeing a lot of head shaking, not happening in the new matter, other matters. So that just brings me to number 10, which is adjourn. I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all very much for being here virtually or physically, and look forward to seeing you all next time.
Thanks very much, everybody. It's good to see you all.
Thank you all.